We are in Shmuel Aleph, sorry. I'm going ahead of myself. Okay, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, hit the notifications either here or there, I don't know where it is, and that way you get notifications of the upcoming of the classes, and you can watch it in due time. And of course, you can always join us in the live studio audience at the Midwest Store Center. A new thing. Okay. In South Bend, Indiana. There you go. Okay. We are in chapter 17, verse 56. We just finished exploring what happened to Shaul when he said, "Who is this boy?" We already know that he knows him. He says he arms bearer. He loves him, so on and so forth. What he was asking, according to the Malbim, is, or actually was, which family does he come from? Does he come from the line of Peretz, which means that he's going to be the king, or is he coming from the line of Zerach, which just means he's going to be an important personage? And
they've met before.
Yes, again, they're asking. He doesn't know the lineage.
I know. Why didn't he ask him at the time? Whose son are you? Whose family? What's wrong? Why couldn't
because he saw him do a miraculous thing, namely go into battle without any armament, with just a sling, and beat their champion. When he saw something like that happen, so he said something is special about this boy, which I wouldn't have thought about before. And if you think about it, many times we see a person, we introduce that person, we know who the person is. We really don't go through the thing of saying, so who's your father? Except if you're Jewish. No, if you're Jewish, what's the first thing you ask? You say, what?
Jewish geography.
Yeah, just geography. You know, this guy to that guy. You know, right. So you come from New York, so you know Smith, right? You know, that sort of thing. Or and where do you come from, New York? Oh, Flatbush. Oh, we're in Flatbush. That street. Oh, I know that street. And do you know this guy? You know that?
Were your grandparents born in this country?
No.
So you're second generation American, like I am. Only my parents were born in this country.
My parents weren't born. Only my mother was born in this country. My father was born in Germany. I'm one and a half.
What about? Where were your?
I'm half also. My grandparents all came from Russia, Ukraine. My mother was actually born over there too. Right. She was like 2.5 when she came over.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what Jews do. We like to know where you came from. What town in Germany did your parents come from?
That's go back very far.
Right. So that's Jews. I don't know if non-Jews do that, but I know that we do. You do? Okay, fine. So. Like I said, that something means that. So I guess we would go back, and then who's your father? We're not really doing that. Not at least on that first. Unless you come to Shul. If you come to Shul, then we ask you everything. Kohen, Levi, what's place? Okay, we ask you everything there. But
do you go so far as to ask if they like their herring and wine sauce or cream sauce?
No, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. We ask, what, you don't like herring? That's what we say. You have to do right. Okay. You gefilte fish. What? No, you don't know gefilte. You sure you're Jewish? I don't understand. and you have to speak like that too. So you have to say the question in a statement question form. You know, you don't say why. You just put a question mark at the end of the statement. Okay. So then it says, "Vayomer hamelech sha'al ata." So king said to Avner, "Sha'al ata, you ask." Okay, command form, by the way. Sha'al is a command form. Bemi zeh ha'alam. Who is this the son of? Who is this? Yeah, who is this boy the son of? So Malbim says, what's going on there? Again, why does he tell him to ask? Mispar ki kavar chash az al kavod David ma'od. He already suspected about the kavod, the honor of David, very much so. V'hagam shebeno lebein Avner, so between himself and Avner, karu b'shem Na'ar. He calls him Na'ar. B'tzvato, we did this last week. I remember this. B'tzvato et Avner she'ul alav. But when he commanded Shaul to ask about the boy, Tzival sheyomar ben mi zeh ha'alem. Who is this Alem? Sheshem Alem nichbad mishim Na'ar, because the word Alem, which means boy, is more honorable than the name Na'ar, which means boy. Okay?
Why?
I have no idea. We'll just take the Malbim's word for that and shake our head and say yes. But he's making distinction. I'm not sure why. But he gives this explanation. But he's giving an explanation. Kishem na'ar mora al se'ir liyamim, because he holds that the word na'ar is indicative of young men of ages, or ha'omed l'shared l'nechech, or or means the definition of na'ar would mean one who stands for service, or the definition could be one who is being educated. It could be all three at the same time. It could be one, or it could be used in one of those terms. But that's what the word na'ar is indicative of. Shadayin einav malato. He still isn't in he's still the apprentice, as it were. Lokain shem ha'elem, which is not the case of the word alem. Alem is just apparent. Alem, which means boy again, is apparently a much more honorable name.
Where else is this word not used very often? I don't recall this before, this word.
I'm not sure how many times it was used. You'd have to look it up in a concordance.
Is it used in Torah at all, or only later? No, in the concordance.
I don't remember being used in Torah.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was a question of one carrying more respect than the other. In other words, one might mean, who is this upstart, as opposed to who is this brave man. I didn't know if it had to do, though young, I didn't know if it had to do with respect.
Well, again, the Malbim is telling us that's what the difference is. One is more respectful. The title of Alem apparently is more respectful than the term Nar, because Nar means not yet completed.
Yeah.
That's how he's defining it.
Is Alem something older or a little more advanced than Yeled? Does Yeled mean like a little
Yeled's
boy?
a boy. Yeled's a
Little
boy.
For sure a boy.
Yeah. The only place you see Alma, by the way, in the Torah, the word Alem, which would really be it's a feminine, Alma.
Huh.
So it says that Miriam was the sister of Moshe, and when he is taken up from the Nile by Pharaoh's the daughters, him made no, she sent her arm, however they happen. Okay, so then she says, can I get the mother to nurse him? And she says, go. And it says she ran like an alma. She ran like an adult.
So alma is a young woman.
A young woman, as opposed to a yelda or betula.
A girl, specifically.
Right, yeah. Which is, by the way, also another time. That's the other example where Rivka she's a 3-year-old, according to some opinions, when she's being talked about, and she says she was a virgin, a betula. And then when Eliezer is talking to the father, Rivka's father, he calls her an alma, which just means a young woman, non-descriptive of her status of a virgin. And so I always like to bring this up. The people want to that, and by the way, that word alma will also be used when it comes to an alma will give birth to a child who will be the Mashiach. But whatever what's this from your religion? The virginal, was it? How do you get?
Virginal birth?
No, but they always want to use. They always want to use the verse that it says the virgin will give birth. Where is it? Isaiah or something?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's a verse that says alma, using the word alma. Isaiah, okay, that a young maiden will give birth. It really means young maiden will give birth. And the non-Jewish world wants to say that alma really means virgin. Why? It doesn't. It means it's a non-descriptive term about a young girl.
It's the same way Moses got horns.
Right. Yeah, but it's so the reason is because they want to say, since Rivka was called Betula and then Alma, so obviously the same word. The answer is no. You don't talk to a father by saying, so your virgin daughter. It's not respectful. It's just not respectful.
In my dictionary, it said a maiden, but also a young marriageable woman.
There you go. Okay. So that would be so that's what Alem would be. That's what I don't know if you ever saw. Like I said, I don't remember any male being called an alem. I think this is the first time you're seeing it. But as for the male, but the masculine, the feminine, certainly you see it at least twice. Like I just said, you see it twice.
Does it have anything to do with the preposition al?
I don't believe so. No.
Is there any instance in the Torah where they use na'ara, young woman?
Na'ara in the Torah, absolutely, every single time. You have all of when it comes Vayikra, in the book of Vayikra, where it's talking about the woman the unbetrothed woman, blah blah blah. It's na'ara is written chasir, na'ar, but we read it na'ara.
Okay.
Always, yep.
You knew the answer to that question before you asked her. You wouldn't have known to ask that question, didn't you? Didn't you suspect that the answer was yes before you asked that?
Well, it'd be a common gender thing to put the al on.
No, I know, but I'm saying if it's a term of not endearment. What's the opposite of endearment? No, when you say like, oh, you're an R, that's insulting. Well, in what case would you call a woman a na'ara? Would that also be insulting?
No, that's not insulting. No, na'ara is. So the difference for the woman would be first yalda, then na'ara, then bogeret.
But is na'ara?
So let me just finish. Yalda is below the age of below the age of 12. Na'ara is a specific time of her life. She is from 12 to 12 and a half. After 12 and a half, she becomes the category of bogeret. So it's just definitional times. Why is that important? Because a father can marry off his daughter until 12 and a half. In other words, he can certainly do it, the katana, the small one, but then she becomes a na'ara. Na'ara, she's a bat mitzvah. Okay, she becomes 12, she's a bat mitzvah. So for 6 more months of her life, she still is under her father's control, if you will. After that, now he no longer, once she hits 12 and a half and one day, he no longer can marry her off. She now becomes a bogeret. Now she becomes independent. She gets to choose everything. And the father has nothing to say. Okay, so that would be the difference of that. For a boy, it's not the same thing. It's either a katan or an adult. You're a good adult. There's no difference for a man, because the father can never he can never cause his son to be married to somebody else, sell his son to marriage. Never, because that's only the man who acquires the woman. The woman can't acquire the man.
Right.
Okay.
So there's like in the case of where you say na'ar and it's a 70 like Eliezer, na'ar is the servant.
Correct.
Is there also a term for the woman, an underling term for the woman? Like there is na'ar for man, is there something for a woman?
Nothing of.
Okay, I think
No.
that's yeah.
And
No.
which category do they start doing the mikvah by commandment? The last one that you said?
Women? You're talking about women to go to the mikveh?
Yeah.
No, she would be when she has the minute she gets her menstrual cycle.
Yeah, but is that the other category?
That's the na'ara.
Well, what's the one above that then?
Bogeret. Bogeret is the total adult. In other words,
So they're already...
once she becomes a na'ara, she has her menstrual cycle. She can now get married.
And is that the milestone that crosses, that marks the crossing?
The same thing for the man. What he has is sexual maturity.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing that's going to cross us from the bar mitzvah. And by the way, just to be clear about this, we don't check everybody out. In other words, we don't look for pubic hairs, and we don't check to see if the woman has a menstrual cycle. Once she hits 12, that is the average time for women to have by that point, to have their menstrual cycle. So that's why they become marriageable, if you will. And that's the same thing for a boy. We don't check out to see if he's pubic hairs, to see if he has whatever hairs. The majority of guys at that age would be sexually mature. So again, we're working generalities with that, and so we don't. We ask for no proof, if you will. Okay. Yeah. So it says, and again, so why is it called Alem? in order to be honored in the eyes of the nation. Okay, so we did that. Now it says Kish 57. Uchashuv David me'akod et plishtim. When David returned from the smiting of the Plishti, veikech oto Avner, so Avner took him. V'aviyehu lifnei Shaul, and he brought him before Shaul. V'rosha Plishti biyado, and the head of the Plishti was in his hand. So he says, Malbim explains what's going on here. Beshuvu az gamar badato erachiton. When he returned them, then he finished with his knowledge of what was going on. Befi avtacha, according to the trust. V'sha'al oto ben mihu. Then he asked him, so who are you? Shaya gam kein hakavan l'dad ma'alad aviv kvodo v'yechusu. Because his intent was also to know the office, I guess, or the prestige of his father and his honor and his lineage. Ulam David Shalo Allah Alibo Ulam Bat David Shalo Allah Alibo Levakesh Sachar, but David did not come up on his heart to ask for reward Ba'ad Gevurato, because of his strength, as a result of his strength. For instance, when he asked what will be done to the man who conquers this guy, and he also did not inquire after the king's daughter, like it says. So Heshiv, that's that first part. Okay, who are you? Because he wants to check out, are you good for the king's daughter? Okay, then what happens? Vayomer Elav. Vayomer Elav Shaul. So Shaul said to him, Ben mi'at hanar. Whose son are you? Whose son are you? The boy. That's interesting. It's planted that way. Vayomer David ben Avdecha Yishai ben Halachmi. Your servant is the son of Yishai from Bethlehem, from Beit Lechem.
Why you're smiling? What's going on there?
It's just interesting how they put that. He's talking to David like third person. The boy, whose son are you?
Whose son are you?
No,
Second person.
but in Hebrew, it's Ben mi atahanar. The boy, whose son are you? That's what I'm saying. He goes first, third person, and then he goes, whose son are you? Second person. It's an interesting. Just an interesting way to do that.
That could be apposition back with the top.
Right. So Rashi says in this verse, wait. Oh no, I did that verse. Sorry. Okay. So the Malbim continues to say. So Heshiv, when he asked, whose son are you? She says, Heshiv ben Avdecha ben Yishai halachmi. Your servant is the son of Yishai. I'm sorry, the son of your servant Yishai. I'm putting too many words in there. From Bethlehem. Rosh Mozeh Ma'alti. This is my prestige. This is where I'm coming from. Umalat Avi. And the prestige of my father. What is it? Shu Avdecha Yishai. That is your servant Yishai. Umashu ever Hamelech Vesar Lemashmato. And his prestige is he's a servant of the king.
Who is Jesse?
Jesse. And that's the prestige. Okay, fine. Which is an interesting way of saying it. It's my lineage is we get to serve you.
What would you have expected them to say? I am the son of Jesse. Period.
I am the son of Jesse from the tribe of Judah. From this, you can go back and forth. Yeah, so you can go all the way down to Yaakov Avinu. I don't know. He was trying to figure out. Was Jesse something big? In other words, what gave you the ability to go out and face the giant, the warrior? So he's trying to figure it out. And he doesn't answer him in that sort of manner. He asked him, by the way, this goes to something very important. When you ask me a question, I answer the question. That's all. You didn't tell me what you want to know. You just asked me a grandiose question. Who are you? So, okay, so that's who I am. Next. You want to ask something? You know, it's like when a woman says to you, can you take out the garbage? Yep.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm capable.
Do you want me to? I don't know what that means, but do you want me to? I can do a lot of things, yeah. I can also stand on one foot. Yeah.
So he was. Saul was trying to figure out if he was descended from the line of Yehuda.
Yes, again, Saul was trying to figure out whether David was descending from Perez, which was, they're all from Yehuda. Perez, which would burst through the, Peretz, who burst through the scenes and overran the oldest brother, because he burst out of the womb. How that happened again? Not going to get involved. I'll leave that to the doctors. And then, and therefore he would be king, and replace Shaul. And Shaul knew someone was going to replace him. There was no question about that. And that all was he Zerach, from the seed of Zerach, which just meant he would have been a distinguished fellow, but not a threat to his throne.
So when David replied,
I'm the son of Jesse.
Yishai and our lineage is serving you.
Right.
He could have said, because if he knew he was descended from Paris, if the person who knows the descendant from Paris, then they would say, I'm son of Yishai, son of whatever, son of Peretz of the tribe of Yehuda, or other tribe of Yehuda. Like they would try to connect them.
He could, right. If he would have said, right, he would have had to say, keep asking questions. But because he asked an open-ended question, whose son are you? You know, if they ask you whose son are you, you're just going to say Charles. You're not going to go, Charles, the son of blah, 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 blah. Okay. And where does he live? He lives in blah, blah. Okay. I'm not sure. You know, you're looking at the king saying, I'm not sure what you're asking me, but okay. We're your servant. That's our claim to fame. Shaul didn't go any further than that. He said, okay. Again, I guess you only get to ask one question. You know? It's like so many people, you get caught. You know, if you ask an open-ended question, you come to a rabbi and you say, Rabbi, I have this piece of, I have this chicken. Okay, is it kosher or not? I look at it, I say treif. There's non-kosher. So what's your choice? You didn't ask me why. I don't know why you're asking. You just you brought me a piece of chicken, and you say, what do you say? Was it cooked? I don't know. What am I supposed to say on this? Okay, so but that's what he did. He asked the question, and it was just so he answered it. If he goes any more, then David may suspect something too. Why are you asking? You know, what's going on? What did I do wrong? You know. So that's also a problem. But he, like I said, he doesn't ask anymore. He just says that he's the servant of the king. So, fine.
He's a servant of the king. He probably isn't a danger to him.
Okay. Could be. But again, I don't know if...
There wouldn't be a follow-up
I don't think that's...
if
right.
you're satisfied that this is not a threat to my rule.
Right. No, that's... Well, he doesn't know that. That's what I'm saying. David doesn't know why he's asking. David has no idea why he's asking. He just, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't know why he's asking. If I know,
Just about why did he ask?
Again, he wants to know whose lineage he is, so he's trying to do some investigation. But the boy doesn't. But if I don't know why you're asking, I don't know how to answer. So I just answer.
Yeah.
And so then he can't go any further with that. Okay. So, by the way, also the Marikra answers a little differently. He says, when David returned, Shaul to Bemiatam, they asked him, whose son are you? Ra'uhu velo minulu. He saw him, and he didn't believe him, as it were. There are those who say that because he said the king would make rich this person and give him his daughter, Amel b'vavo, he said, in his heart, Adkan lo chashti lechkor acharav, until now I didn't have suspicion to investigate the matter, namely from who are you? That's why I need to know if you are miyuchas and that I can marry you with him. Okay, so by the way, the Mari Kra gets out of all the problems and says, why is Shaul asking? Because Shaul originally put across a very nice offer. Whoever can defeat Goliath, well, I will make rich, which doesn't take anything. That's not a problem. But also marry my daughter to him. Well, when I'm going to marry my daughter to him, I have to know I'm not marrying my daughter to a person who is not fit to marry my daughter. So now when he asks, whose son are you? And he says, I am the son of your servant Yishai from Bethlehem. Well, that means I'm not a mamzer, I'm not a slave, I'm not this, I'm not that. I come from lineage, therefore I can marry your daughter, no problem. That's the easy way, that's a very easy way to talk about it. The Malbim is making a little more of that, saying, well, he was worried about different things, fine. But really the simple shot is, I have to know if you are fit for my daughter. Okay, in other words, you're not a mamzer, you're not somebody who really can't marry my daughter. Next, we're in chapter 18. It was when he finished speaking to Shaul, Shaul, Benefesh Yehonatan, the soul of Yehonatan, Nikshra Benefesh David, became tied up with the soul of David, Ve'ahavehu, and he loved him. Yonatan loved him like his own soul.
All right, so Jonathan was Saul's son.
Saul's son, yes. Jonathan, Saul's son. So it says, the Malbim says on this, Yisapir Ata, now he's going to explain, Eich hitzmiach Keren David, how the horn of David grew, umazalo, it not states, and how his mazal was bursting through. Because from the one is from the side of David, from the side of Yehonatan that we're speaking of, and his soul became inextricably tied up with David. Virtually more, from the side of David's strong spirit and his Holy Spirit, Haya Kesha V'Itchavro B'Nefesh. That's what became the binding force between them. Because like-minded things come together.
Was there much of an age difference between them?
I do not know that.
Right.
But what we're seeing is that Yehonatan likes what he sees in David, the strength, the spirit of Kedusha, and so that's the pairing that comes together. Is that the Malbim is not that he had to defend against anything else, but he was saying this is not a sexual type of love. This was a love of kin spirits. Okay. And sadly enough, we have to discuss that today because people have taken this way out of context. Okay, and I'll leave it there.
Well, the Greeks have four. You know more than the Greeks have 4 words at least for love, different kinds of.
Right, but I'm just saying here is a fraternal love. It's a spiritual type of love, nothing else. Yeah.
Soul for soul.
Soul for soul. I'm sorry?
Would it do with the fact that he's marrying into the family and marrying his sister?
No, it has to. Again, the Malbim is not saying that. The Malbim is saying that he sees a kindred spirit. That's what he wants to say. As far as a brother-in-law love, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would even plan out. Because you don't have to love your brother-in-law. You can put up with your brother-in-law. You could love your brother-in-law. But whatever the case is going to be, there's one thing you know about in-laws in general. Okay, this will bring you through life. You be nice to in-laws, and they be nice to you. That's how it works. Okay, you don't have to love them. You have to respect them, yes, but you don't have to love them. You just have to get along with them, because if you don't, or if they don't get, by the way, if they don't get along with you, they'll never see their sibling again, because it's not going to work. If you make the outlaw, if you will, if you make them into outlaws, then somebody's going to lose in that. So really, when you marry into a family, you really want to get along with everybody, knowing that unless you're living in the same town, the same house, for the most part, you're not going to see each other that much. So you make the best of it. If you are certainly living in the same house together, be careful, because depending on whose house you're in, if you're the in-law or the outlaw in that situation, you can be kicked out. So you more really want to get along. But it wasn't Jonathan. Jonathan, like I said, what Jonathan was saying, he loved him like his own soul. So that's a different thing. So it says, Rotz lemot shaloita avat ha'arev or moel. It wasn't because he was a guarantor for him or he could help him. Rak ava atzmiyat sheyev atov et atov. But again, it's a love of good for good. Vaita ava kenafshon. That's why it says he loved him like his soul. She ava ha'azza she'en l'malamim. And there's no greater love than that. Where I love you because of who you are and your very essence I love. You can't get any greater love. There's nothing else I want from you. I don't want anything from you, actually. I just love you as you are. Great.
The Greek word for that type of love is agape.
What is it? Agape?
Agape.
Okay.
Love of someone's soul.
Okay, there we go.
Spiritual love.
Good. So Shaul took him on that day of alone Natano. And he did not give him. He did not allow. It's interesting again. Literally, Tano, he did not give him l'shuv beit aviv to return to his father's house. In other words, David's father. He didn't give him permission anymore to leave. It was already done. And so the Metzudas David says, "Kasher yadarka," like that was apparently the normal way. Miaz haya holech v'shav. He used to go home after he used to go home to daddy in Beit Lechem. He would get vacation, I guess. And so now he doesn't get any more time off. Now he has to stay with the king. Okay. So, and again, we're looking at the growth of David. How did he grow? So the second stage, first stage was Jonathan's love for him. The second stage was Vikachehu. The Malbim says, Mitzad Shaul Shayadato Livnot Lo Bayit Ne'eman L'chanein Imo. Since he wanted to build what we call a base Ne'eman B'Yisrael, a faithful house in Israel, and to become married with him, in other words, via the daughter. L'chein L'natano L'shuv Al Beit Aviv El Hatzon. Therefore, he does not give him permission to return to his father's house, Yishai's house, to take care of the sheep. Ki miyuadhu liyot chatan hamelech, because now he was set aside to be the groom to the chassan to the king. He was the son-in-law of the king. So since he's set to be the son-in-law of the king, it wouldn't be befitting for him to leave to go shepherd the sheep. Okay, you just raised yourself up. You can't go back now. Okay, 5.
The princess is not going to go to Bethlehem.
The what?
You're not going to take the princess to Bethlehem.
You're not going to take the princess to Bethlehem, right? You're staying home with me, right? Okay. They were also in a different part of the land, right? But that's basically what it is. Yep, you stay home with me because you now moved up in your status. Okay. V'yichrot Yehonatan with David Brit. So now Yonatan and David made a covenant. Ba'avato token of show, and since he loved him like his soul. So what's going on? V'yichrot again. There's a third stage of David's growth. Mitzad Yonatan, from the side of Jonathan, they made a covenant. Shaydei ahava hosif lichrot imo Brit. Because of his love, he made a covenant with him. Siba da Brit lo haya mitzad eze yira kedech korti Brit. And this covenant was not like that which is normal. Normally when I make a covenant, it's with people that I'm afraid of you. So let's make a peace treaty, sort of thing, right? Shasibatim hi eze mora bal yiru lezeh or livnehem, and which I'm afraid of you, so I don't want you to do bad to my kids. I wouldn't do bad to your kids, and so on and so forth. Yes, exactly. That's what he says. You were mechaven to what he says. Kamo Brit Avimelech im Avram, just like the covenant with Avimelech to the Avram and Yitzchak and Kedome, and similarly other people like that. Rak mitzad avatom, karda Brit azot, only from the side of his love did he make a covenant with him. And what's this? Vayit pashet Yehonatan et hame'il asher alav. So Yonatan took off the me'il, the cloak that was on, I guess cloak or shirt, whatever you want to call it, that was on him. V'yitnehu leDavid, he gave it to David. Umadav, and his madav was another type of clothing, right? Where is it? What's madav?
Battle garments.
Well, that's ad charbo. It could be battle garments. It's a type of clothing. Until his sword, the ad kashto, his bow, the ad chagoro, and also the belt. So he's taking all of that and he's giving that to David. Okay.
Did you say what form does covenant take, and what does covenant mean? They became blood brothers. What?
It's not saying exactly what the covenant was, except for one of love. So it doesn't say what they exchanged, or except he's giving him apparently some clothes, a sword, and so on and so forth. But it's just the point that they're making was it was not a love out. It was not a covenant out of fear for one or the other. It was just a covenant of love.
In the interpretation down here,
Yep.
it says that, and this, I don't even know where this. Oh, and this is about 18. It said, yeah. So it says, such was the love of David, who became fast friends, even though each knew that the other was his obstacle to ascending the throne.
Okay.
Comment.
Well, Jonathan doesn't know anything. Jonathan doesn't really. I don't know why the Saint Jonathan knows that, but David knows, because David is. What would Jonathan be? He's the son of the king, so he would be the natural. He would be the next natural king.
Yeah.
Okay, so David knows that he has to now displace Jonathan, and still Jonathan is not. But he's not doing that. He's not playing the game of politics here. He's not trying to kill him.
But this came from God. There's no politics involved. At the appointed time, that switch will be made. From Saul.
You are, Baruch Hashem, you're so religious.
Why?
Most people don't think. They think if God said, I'm going to be the king, then I have to do something to be king. I'll give you an example of this. Korach knows via prophecy that his grandson, great-grandson, whatever, Shmuel is going to be equal to both Moshe and Aaron. So he says, if Shmuel is going to be equal to it, so it means I can't be a schlepper. I have to be something to be big. And so therefore he tries to oust Moshe from his position. And he's not successful. He gets swallowed up he gets burned. Okay, he gets burned. But he's not successful. But the bottom line is, he thought he had to do something. We have many people throughout time who they get these prophecies, and they're irregular prophecies, and they decide that they have to do something to help the prophecy along. You're on the other side of that. You're saying, look, if God wants me to be the king, I'll be the king. I'll wait my time, and I'll be the king, right? So you're saying, not everybody's as holy as you. Everybody feels that I'm serious. If that's really what you would be saying, then you're willing to wait out, and not everybody's. As a matter of fact, most of them, the characters throughout and I use characters as the characters in the Torah, were not willing to wait. Some of them would, but most of them would not, and they would do something stupid as a result of that.
To preempt something.
Preempt. They would say, well, if I'm going to be, I have to do something to make this happen. Instead of just saying, it's going to happen, don't worry about it. I have time. I have time. God will do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. Who am I? What am I? That's your attitude. That's not the attitude of most people. So David, and that's why I don't know who's saying it, but regardless of who's saying it, that's really the attitude. If I, David, know that I'm supposed to be the next king, Yehonatan, nice guy, I love the guy, sweetest guy I ever met in the world, but you know what? Move aside, pal. I can't make a covenant with you because I'm going to have to break it. I can't do anything with you because I had to replace you. I had to replace your dad, actually, not even you.
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah.
Which means you. So why would I want... Now, you could always say in front of my friend, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. You could use that sort of an approach, but he's not doing that. He's just getting along. Yonatan loves him. And again, Yonatan, who knows what's going to happen? He doesn't know that David was anointed. So there's no question that he doesn't know. He will learn that as time goes on by everything that's happening. He will understand that David is supposed to be the next king. And he will happily step aside.
Does Jonathan know at this point that Saul was the reason behind his melancholy?
No.
All right.
No. As a matter of fact, I don't think. Oh, Saul does. Yeah.
Talking about making a covenant with people out of.
Say it again, please.
Talking about making a covenant with people out of fear of what the other person could do to them.
Yeah.
Probably like Abraham and Abimelech and
Yes.
etc. Why didn't? Maybe not didn't. It wasn't. I don't. As far as I can remember, it wasn't specified that Yaakov made a similar covenant with Esau, because that was certainly a relationship of I don't know. I can't trust what you're going to do to me or my descendants.
Was there a
I'm
covenant?
not sure what you're asking now. Was there a covenant?
I don't recall any specification of a covenant between.
There was no covenant. What happened was when you have to go back in the story for Yaakov and Esau. What happened was he sold the rights to the firstborn.
Right.
Okay, so then you fast forward that, and then he about 100 years, and then no, I was saying 100 years. It was 50 years later. Then he would now take the bracha, and Esau's might steal the bracha. Okay, but really it was his bracha to have. So now fast forward that another 22 years. Okay, he's going back at, right, 22 years? Sure, 22 years. And then he meets up with Esau, and he says to Esau, I want to present you with a gift. Mm-hmm. And so Esau said, keep whatever is yours, which was seen as I'm acquiescing to everything. Okay, so that was how the rabbis looked at that meeting. What could be is when Yaakov said to Esau, please, you're my brother, you're the oldest, you're this, you're that, you're the Bechor. So Esau could have been saying, oh, so my brother is admitting to me what's true, but I have so much, you keep what's yours. So in the end, he's saying, you keep what you have. And that's the covenant. This is, let's walk together. And that's when Yaakov says, you know what? The kids are slow. I have things to do. I have to, the bank accounts, I have to move. It doesn't work out that well. You go ahead and we'll meet up at Dad's Thanksgiving table. Don't worry. I'll visit you at home. We'll get together when we have time, blah, blah, blah. And Esau says, no, you sure you don't want, no, Esau, please, I love you. Go. Okay, and basically kicks him out. Esau goes on his way. They never meet up after that. There's no meeting. Again, maybe they saw each other at the father's house. I'm not going to say they didn't. I'm sure they were lovey-dovey when they were close to daddy, but he never really liked his brother because of how he felt about it. And he would pass that hatred on to his kids. So I don't think, that's what I'm saying. I think there was a détente, but I don't think there was ever, certainly not a covenant that we know of. And I think it was just understood that we're going to go our own separate ways. And that's it. So you would make a covenant with them. Unlike Avimelech and Yitzchak, were there's different families. David and Yonatan, different families. You and your brother are not going to make a covenant. Brothers, I should say. Even okay, you guys are a unit, if you will, but you're not going to get. So you're going to pull your third brother in and your sister. Let's all make a covenant. You don't do that. We're family. We'll fight. We'll complain when we need each other. Hopefully, we'll be there. Okay. Hopefully, we get together for simchas as well as the sadness. But nonetheless, we don't make a covenant. I don't make a covenant with my family. Okay. So, and I think that's what we have to look at. I'm making a covenant with somebody who's outside of my family. And I'm making an agreement with them. That's what a covenant is. I'm making an agreement with them that you'll be here for me, I'll be with you. What kind of covenant am I making, though? So agape, if I want to make one from agape, pure love, okay, I'm not sure what and that was your question. I don't know what the terms were. It could have just been that we're making a covenant that we'll always love each other. Okay, that we'll never do anything against each other. We want to get along. It could have been that simple. It could have been blood brothers, if you will. Again, I don't think actually did the cut, but it could have been that sort of covenant where he's saying, look man, I love you, and I'm not drunk, sort of thing. When people get drunk, I love you, babe. But it wasn't that sort of thing. It was, I love you because of who you are. and it could have been that simple. So I don't think it was. Well, we're seeing there was an exchange of something here, but it seems only one-sided exchange. We don't see the dove is giving anything.
Are there examples in the literature of other covenants by that name?
Of a Brit? Between whom?
Similar to Jonathan and David.
Well, again, normally you do it if you have trepidation of the other side. Normally, I'll make a covenant if I'm like
Is covenant synonymous for truce?
Treaty. Pact, treaty. It's not a truce.
There hadn't been a problem. They're not resolving a problem.
Correct. It's not a truce. It's not a truce. It's a treaty. It's an agreement between each other not to do something. Normally the treaty would be like with Avimelech and Avram, who were not at odds end, would be you don't. Just like I didn't bother your children, you won't bother my children. We're both powerful. Why get involved in this? It would be that's what it is. Two powerful families getting together. So you want to make sure that the kids will get along. If you think about all these people who are, there was a guy in Canada. He was. Who? No, it was liquor. It was it was a big liquor company.
Yeah.
He was a runner. What do you call it? What do you call the people who make the illegal booze?
Oh, bootlegger.
Bootleg. He was a bootlegger. Okay. And so what happens is, he's running around with his compatriots. Okay, and they all make it big. They all decide to go, I guess, legal, and they make it big. And so what happens is, okay, those guys are good. Yeah, I think Bronfen's in. I think Bronfen. It was a Canadian company. I forget what it was.
That's Bronfen. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't even know, by the way, I don't want to be sued by the people. I don't know. The reputation was they're all bootleggers in the old days until they finally went legal.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they would have known each other, but the kids wouldn't know all the mishigas that went on. So you want to make it a peace treaty with everybody. Okay, you have your territory, I'll have my territory. Let's not mix.
Sounds like the mafia.
The mafia type thing.
I think it's called the Purple Gang.
Purple Gang. Okay. Again, I remember when I was a kid. Right. Well, I remember when I was a Canada. They had all these stories. But again, how much of it's true, I don't know. But that would be a type of peace treaty where you have your territory, I have mine. Let's not collide. That one we have plenty of in the Torah, Torah and Tanakh in general. But this particular type, just out of love, I don't know if there is any other one. This is the paradigm of this sort of a thing. And so I think it's only mentioned here. Okay. Well, over time. Okay, we'll have to stop here.
That comes from the covenant.